How's it going, everybody? My name is John Bianchi. I'm the Airbnb data guy, and I'm going to be making a video for you right now where I'm going to analyze all of Atlanta, Georgia to try and find profitable rental arbitrage properties. Now, I don't know Atlanta, Georgia. I've actually never been there. I know that you're only allowed to get two Airbnbs in the area. I have a general understanding of the space, but right now what we're doing is we're generating a profit map, which is my product for Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just going to get everything up and loaded for Atlanta so you can see like a very raw process of me trying to figure out where I could find a profitable property within Atlanta. So I can see that, must have a pool is a filter that I probably won't need because there's almost no homes for rent with a pool. I'm going to remove any sort of maximums I have on here. I don't know. I don't think I need to change anything here just yet. But for the most part, okay, I've got that ready. I like using AirDNA just for their mapping feature, and hopefully Point Analytics will have that. The report is now ready to go, so I'm going to open this report. Now we're looking at all of the Atlanta, Georgia data in with my product. On the left-hand side, what we have are all the different zip codes. On the left, you have the different bedroom counts, so studio, one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, so on and so forth. Where those two connect is the average annual revenue for an Airbnb in that area for that bedroom count. So a studio in that zip code makes $20,000 a year. The number behind it represents how many Airbnbs that makes up. So there's 9 studios in this zip code that are on average making $20,000 a year. Now, the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to try and figure out what's the best thing that I might be able to purchase or rent, that's going to allow me to cash flows the best. And so what I probably need to start off with is actually figuring out my sort of max rent calculator. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab that sheet and I'll be right back. So this is just a simple sheet that I used to use to be able to figure out what my max rent should be. For anyone who doesn't know what I mean by when I say max rent, the way that I plot this out is okay, so say the property makes $85,000 a year, right? Well, I want to take home $20,000 in profit. So I consider that to be an expense. Okay, right off the bat, I'm like, that's an expense. So $20,000 of profit. And then which means that I have $65,000 left for expenses, okay, like actual expenses, which is everything that you see here. So cleaning, amenities, water, electricity, gas, pool, lawn, cable, internet, streaming services, and maintenance. I have this in as an annual basis. You can see all the formulas up here. So I've got $120 for cleaning. Let's just, I'm going to leave most things as is because I don't know if I'm going to be doing a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom or a 5 bedroom. But the idea is that if I know how much the revenue is going to be, and I know how much profit I want to take home from the listing on an annual basis, then I can figure out what all my expenses are. I get my total expenses, right? And then I minus total expenses. Okay, so I minus those expenses. So the only expense that's not in here is rent, right? So I take all of my expenses and then I minus it from the remaining amount. So it would have been, this is B11, which is going to be that 20,000 plus all of my expenses. So I'm adding those together and considering this an expense, right? And then I am minusing the total, so my total expenses and my profit from the total revenue. And what that's giving me is how much money I have left to spend on rent, okay? And that's 48,000, and then I divide that by 12. So 48,000 divided by 12 works out to almost perfectly $4,000, right? Which means that if a property made $85,000 a year, I could walk away with $20,000 in my pocket and still pay $4,000 a month in rent if all the rest of these numbers were accurate, right? So that's how that works. Now I'm going to have that ready to go when the time comes. But right now what I need to do is just try to figure out where the most amount of money is being made for Atlanta and then trying to find properties that are for rent that match up with those specific homes. Now, a lot of people are doing 1 bedrooms nowadays and getting like 10 of them all in one location, or studios or 2 bedrooms. Like they're kind of focusing in on these. However, with Atlanta, I know that I can only get 2 legally with the way that it's set up, the regulations. So I'm probably going to focus on the biggest one that I could possibly get to sort of maximize my revenue, which means I'm going to want to focus on the 4, the 5s, and maybe the 6s. Now, what I can see with the sixes is that there's a lot of data there's not a lot of data because this row here represents how many actual active Airbnbs there are across all of the 6 bedrooms. And there's not that many, right? There's a total of 23, 24 across all of Atlanta, which is a lot, but not here. But I do want to focus on these larger ones. So maybe it makes sense. Okay, and then I can see the same thing here with the 5 bedrooms. There's not a lot of like concentration of 5 bedrooms in one zip code. We're working with a lot of zip codes here, right? But then when we look at 4 bedrooms, I can see this one area has quite a bit. These areas all have quite a bit as well. But I think I'm going to start off with a process in a way that I've gone in a different format. So if I go down here, this tab here was hidden, which is called simple data, where it's just all of the data simplified in comparison to the other one that is like everything. You have literally every single last thing. It's a lot more confusing to work with. So I've simplified it here. So I'm just going to keep this one hidden. So I've got this. I'm going to add a filter to this up here. So let's go add a filter. And then I'm going to clear all. And I'm going to click just the 5 bedrooms. Actually, sorry, just the 6 bedrooms to start. Now, what I can see is that there's a ton of money being made for these 6 bedrooms. But what I want to do is actually want to just figure out, are there any 6 bedrooms for rent? And unfortunately, with the way that this works, I can only look at 5+ bedrooms. So maybe I just need to go with 5+. So that's what I'm seeing there. Now what I'm going to do is actually going to copy all of these ones that are doing over 100,000. I'm going to put them onto a new tab. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to put them into a map. So I'm going to use this tool called Google My Maps. And I'm going to click that. And what I'm trying to figure out right now is exactly where are these located in Atlanta? Because as you can see, Atlanta downtown's right here, but the Atlanta market is being covered everywhere. And so if I can know exactly if all these ones are like concentrated maybe around here, I can just remove this boundary and draw a border into a smaller circle so I can close up the amount of locations that I'm actually looking at. And I got to do this quick because I actually only have a little bit of time. Okay, I've got under an hour to be able to do this, but let's get going. So I go to import, I go Google Drive, I go over here, I copy this, go copy, bring it over here and paste it, and then click enter. And then I got the first one that shows up is always the right one. So I click it, it's going to give me the insert button. The first option is just grabbing the lat and long out of the data so it can plot it. The next one, I always make it the annual revenue, and that's just the title that I want, to the very top thing that I want to see. And then what I'm going to do is change these all to a nice dark red so I can see exactly where they are. And what we see is that we've got a couple over here. Most of them are going to be within that general range. I'm probably just going to stay focused right around here, even though we have these like outskirt ones. So, but out of curiosity, that one's doing 112. That one's doing 105. That one's doing 151, which is pretty solid. I'm curious why that would be. That doesn't look like good data. July, April, June. Yeah, that's not good data. So it's always helpful to clean up the data before you do this as well. But I was really just looking for where the cluster was on this. This one appears to be on the lake, and it's a massive mansion, so that's not helpful for me either. And then this one doing 132. Solid looking home. I wonder if this is good data. June, May. Yeah, this one seems pretty solid as well, but it's the only one that's like far out, right? So that's good data, 132. I'm just going to mark that as good data right now to save myself some time. So that's good. But again, it's way out there in comparison to everything else. So I'm going to draw a map that's kind of a circle. It's going to go right around this general area. But before I do that, because I have to look at 5 bedrooms at the same time, I can't just look at just 6 bedrooms. I'm going to plug in the 5, and then I'm going to take these top listings from 5. They're all doing pretty well over 100,000. And I'm going to give them their own sheet. We're going to do the exact same thing. And I think that worked, right? That's all the 5s. Yep. So I'm going to move this over here. And you can name this 6-bed over 100, 5-bed over 100. And then we're just going to go over here again, and we're going to go add layer. Now I'm going to change this name so I know which ones I'm looking at. These are going to be 6-bed over 100. And then I'm going to go import It's already going to be loaded because I just did it. So I go click insert. Once again, this grab the lat and the long, making that the annual revenue, finish that up. Change the title now to 5-bedroom before I forget. So I'll go 5-bed over 100. And then I'm going to change the color as well to red. Now, some people would maybe change it to orange so you can kind of see the difference. But what I love about this is that all of this data is right here. So now what I just figured out is that, as you can see with these orange, they kind of tail up this highway, the 400 highway, way more than any other direction. So what I'll do is I'll grab everything down here, and I'm not going to go too low on Atlanta, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to wrap around like that. That's where my most profitable 5s and 6 bedrooms are, which is where the most money is being made in this market. So let's get back over here. Let's zoom in a bit. I know that that's the 400 right there. So I'm going to probably grab out just like that. So let's go remove boundaries, then click the draw option. I could see that we were all the way around here. I'm just going to grab just under like that. And then I'm going to come back around, kind of go up like this and over. So I think that was pretty close to where most of these were. This highway, which is 42, I might have wanted to go out a little bit further here for that to actually be accurate. Yeah, that I missed that a little bit. So let me try that one more time. Let's go draw again. We're going to start over here. We're going to work our way. How far over do I want to get there? I know I want to follow up this road right here, which would be that one. And I don't need to go all the way over, so that's fine. As long as I just grab up like that, and then right up to where it says 400 should be good. 400 right there. We're going to start over here. We're going to come around. We're going to get in there. We're going to go up that. We're going to cross up over here, and we'll take everything that's in there. So cool. Apply. Now we're only looking at the listings that are directly in here. And I can already see we're seeing like some 25, some 14, some 15, some 29, some like crazy high rents. So we're going to want to put in our sort of top level rent that we want to be working with here. I'm going to grab this simple data and bring it back to the top. I'm going to bring the profit map as well to the top there too, just keeping things organized. And I'm going to add in the 6 beds for a second here. And we've got all of this to work with. I want to see where the majority is. It kind of feels like we've got a couple over 2. Then we're very quickly dropping all the way down to 175, one down 160. So we hit 150 quick, right? We actually hit 130 pretty quick too. Seems like the vast majority are going to be between 130, maybe even. Anyways, there's a good chunk here that are in the hundreds to 120 range, which I'm going to assume are probably going to be like some of the more common homes. Look at that home there. That's actually not too bad. What about this one here? It's doing 130. I want to get like a feel for what my max and min should be on my rent. These are like decently cool looking homes. 150. What are these 105s? So I might have multiple filters. That's a bad listing, so that's not helpful. That's a beautiful listing. Holy. That looks like a regular home, which is some of the best data you can get. I just want to verify if this is good data right now while I'm on it, just so I don't have to come back in, because I really like this listing. Tons of June, tons of May, tons of April, tons of March, February, January. Holy, that's awesome. All right, so let's highlight that one green. Go, yep, sounds good. Get it, yellow, cool. Y means yes, it is good data. As you can see here, let's go view, freeze, one row. Okay, before I just start opening up everything, like I said, I want to add a maximum amount of rent. So let's say that hypothetically 150,000 is how much we can make. Let's increase that. If we're making $150,000 a year, I want to make at least 30K off those properties. My cleaning's definitely going to be more. I'm going to put that up to 200. That might be wrong. I don't know exactly how much it costs there. Amenities are like your soap, shampoos, things along those lines. I'm just going to kind of increase everything if we're going to be going for usually water is covered by the landlord. Electricity, we're going to increase that to 250. It's probably going to be a bigger home that we're going to be working with. 250 is probably actually pretty low, so let's go 350. Gas, let's just leave at 150 because it's unlikely that a lot of gas is used there. Let's assume we don't have pool, that the landlord's taking care of these things. We don't have cable. Internet is what it is. Streaming services is going to be like Netflix. And then maintenance, we're probably going to be a little bit higher on maintenance just for a bigger home. So we'll give ourselves a nice little budget there, which puts us at about $28,000 a year just off of these expenses. And we want to make 30,000. So those two add up to 58. Just as a reminder, you can see them both highlighted here. So 58,000. And then 58,000 minus, then 58,000, you can see it highlighted there, minusing the total revenue gives us $91,000 a year that we can spend on rent, or $7,660. So what we're going to try and do is, well, what we'll do first is we'll just add in a top tier rent of, let's call it 7,500. We probably don't want to pay 7,500, but now we know, now we've cut out everything that is above that, and we're not wasting our time with it in any sort of way, right? We're most likely going to be looking at houses for everything that we're going to be getting into. But at this point now, we have like a solid filter set up, and we can see the different homes that match up here. I've got this set up square footage. I don't know if that's, you can, filter it however you want. I might change that up when we actually go start searching into them. But, like, look at this one here. You got a 5-bedroom for 33. So figure out how much extra rent, you have to wiggle room, you have to play with, because our max is 7,500. So there's a lot of other potential options there. Now we kind of get to the tedious process where we actually have to go through these listings. I'm going to ignore that one. I just need to ignore it. It's not a home that we're going to rent. It's also on the lake. It's clearly a mansion, is what it is. So this one, July, there's no June, but I'm not overly concerned if there's only 1 month missing. But I like what I'm seeing here for the rest of this data. I can also tell the listing itself is obviously a really nice, thorough, put together listing. So that's a solid listing. Right now, what I'm going to be doing is really just trying to clean up this data so I can just have some of the most important data, but we can take a look at it and get a feel for, what we're looking for. Just so you guys understand what I mean by cleaning up the data. That means I'm checking to see if it's 100% good data. My profit map's able to remove the vast majority of all the bad data that exists within these listings. So if you look here, we're only looking at 1,900 listings, whereas if you were to be on AirDNA, there's about 11,000. And so we removed a vast majority of them, but there's still bad data that gets through. And the way to verify it is ensuring that they have a review every single month. And that's how you know somebody's an actual full-time host. That's why I came in here and looked for reviews every single month. It's the way Airbnb works. If you're a full-time host, you get reviews every single month. So not sure why there was no June there, but I'm okay with that for now. So let's get back to it. We're focusing in on these. We're going through this list one by one, and we're just going to keep reviewing these listings, try to understand, make sure that they're good data, trying to get a feel for, why they might be doing the amount of revenue that they're doing. This one has less reviews than I want it to have, especially for being one of the top performers. It feels like there should definitely be more. The occupancy is at 72%. So it's like, what's going on there? I'm going to put that as most likely because they might be on VRBO. If I do want to end up using this to analyze a property, I would just confirm that they're on VRBO. My data does not have that ability. So is what it is. But, just something to keep in mind when you're going through the data. This one has a ton of reviews, and it looks like they've covered at least the last few months. Let's keep going throughout the entire year. I've been doing this a lot. That's why I can go through this so quickly, but simply just looking for reviews every single month. This is a beautiful looking listing. What a awesome home. What an awesome listing. Awesome photos, like way it's designed. I'm not a huge fan of Airbnb Plus, but I love seeing one of the top performers making $184,000 a year because we only need to make $150 to spend $7,500 a month and still walk away with $30K. So, anything above and beyond that is money, is profit. Okay, so we go, we got one in June, only one, and we have no March. And then we're in February, January, and then we shoot straight to September. So I don't believe this data. We're going to ignore this one and say no. There's clearly a lot of dates missing there. If you want to learn anything more about good data, bad data, just simply go and watch my YouTube video about bad data. It's like 26 minutes video, 23 or 26 minutes long, explaining good and bad data. And so that's what I'm seeing right now. So this is another piece of good data. Now I'm going to try to see what it is about these homes that's allowing them to make more money. So first off, one thing I can tell is they're all very clean. They have more of a luxury feel to them. They've kind of got this like similar sort of I don't want to call it contemporary. I don't even know. I don't even know what contemporary means, if I'm being honest. So, I'm not 100% certain on what I'm looking at right now, but I can just see a nice clean listing, massive second living room here with a pool table. That's really solid. It's just a clean, good home, right? So really like seeing that. I'm marking these ones bright green when I find data that's good, and it's also a really good listing. So the listing itself is done really well. The reason I like that is because to me, that's somebody who's maximizing the amount of revenue that they could potentially make out of that property. And that's what I know how to do. And so that's a very comparable property for me, right? And then on top of that, when a property is maximizing the amount of money out of it, in comparison to a listing that's like not done very well, it's just not an apples to apples comparison. And so then therefore it makes it hard to compete. So as an example, this is a great example of exactly what I'm talking about. These are terrible photos, but this place is very clearly significantly nicer. It's got a beautiful backyard, it's got a hot tub, pool, but the photos of the entire home and the way it's been designed is way below par what we've just been seeing for the ones that were above there. So that honestly is not, it's really not that helpful. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to remove anything that has a pool. And that's just simply because when we had the filter on for homes with pools, there were almost none, right? So you can see there's literally only one with a pool. So if I come across a listing that has a pool, that's not going to be helpful for me because I don't have options to find homes that have pools. So we're going to say filter by condition, and then we're going to go text. Text contains, text does not contain. I think that's what we want to do. Text does not contain pool. And then let's go enter. Okay, so that would have just removed anybody that has a pool. Let me just double check that because the one I just reviewed, oh, this one here that I liked, large luxury, doesn't have a pool. It has a pool table. Shoot. All right, I'm going to leave that on there. Don't worry about it. Is what it is. We're just going to say, like, yeah, that I think, did I even check this data? I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So good. Has pool, not a comp, right? Just making notes as we go along and figuring this out. I feel confident that we're going to be able to find some cash flowing properties because we have such a large piece of land to work with. And like the rents are, there's so many properties where the rent is quite a bit cheaper than what we need it to be. So I think that we can find a profitable property. Let's keep going. Here's this one: July, June, May, April, January, November, October, August, July. I think that's enough. I think it's good enough, to be honest. They're Superhost as well, which means they're clearly active. They've got a pool table. It's a very clean, modern home. We've seen the pool table in multiple listings. These photos are not the best, honestly, but the home itself is pretty luxurious. It's clearly a new build, modern home. The backyard is way more plain than I thought it was going to be, honestly. They could have done a lot with this backyard, but anyways, it's useful. I'm not going to mark it as green because I don't think they're maximizing their potential with that property, but it's good to just have on the back burner. July, April, December. This is one that we already looked at, and I should have marked it off earlier. And so that is now out. And then we have this one, which is July, June, May, April, March, February, January, December, October, November. Looks good. And this is, so now what I'm seeing is this is a smaller home than some of these other homes that we've been looking at that are making quite a bit more. Like these ones are really big homes. And now we're seeing this one that looks quite a bit smaller. It's got a hot tub in the back. It's cleaner. Look at this kitchen in comparison to some of the last kitchens that we've been looking at, right? Which, like, even the very last one that we looked at had a, oh, not that one. This one here had a significantly nicer kitchen in comparison. And so to me, that's kind of like, hey, take a look. You know what I mean? Like this home is clearly has a way worse kitchen, but it's designed a lot better, put together a lot better, more of a simple home. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, probably sleeps 16 plus people, but it's just done better. And that's probably what's allowing them to make that amount of money. Now, what I'm also seeing here is two kitchens, which worries me because now it's two homes, right? So it looks like we have a back shed and a front shed, and this might be a parent listing to two kid listings. I don't know what children list, child listings. So what I mean by that is like somebody has, so say this is a duplex and they have a front unit and a back unit, and that's what makes it a 5 bedroom. But they likely have a listing for a 3 bedroom and a 2 bedroom. And when the 3 bedroom gets booked, the 5 bedroom automatically, the calendar automatically gets blocked off, which would make it look like it got booked, which would give it like a really nice occupancy and make it look like it's doing really well. And that's very dangerous because that tells you that that 5 bedroom is not actually doing that amount of money. So what I need to do is go to their host profile and then go to their actual listings and try to see if this listing, which is our main one here, if it shows as a 3 or a 2 bedroom in any other one of their listings here. So now I have to like search this host to make sure that they don't have a duplicate listing, which is kind of hard because I'm only looking on the interior of these listings and they're not really showing the exterior, but I don't remember seeing that design in any of the homes. So let's go to the map. Let's figure out exactly where this one is. When you click the map, now you're just looking at just their listings. This is just above the downtown area. There's a park right above it right there. So let's go over here. Let's go find Atlanta. All right, there we go. Looks like they're all in Atlanta, which is not great, but that's okay. We're going to look into one specific area in Atlanta, which would be right there. And they're not showing up. Okay, so this kitchen is very plain. It's not that kitchen. It's not this kitchen. So then therefore, it's not a duplicate listing. Sorry, it's not a parent listing. And so we know that we're good. This is good data and we can trust it, which makes me really happy because that's a great piece of data. So we're good to go there. Let's say yes. Then we're going to highlight that. I like this one because it's not that big of a home. And even though it's got the extra unit in the back, it doesn't look like something like this, which is obviously going to rent for way more money. But yeah, it's making more money. So we have no June, which is very interesting because we have a lot of everything else. January, December, November, a lot of everything else. So why do we not have any June? Now this data is based on the past 12 months. So technically, even if we didn't have June in there, it really isn't that big of a deal because they had data for the prior 12 months. And that's how it's working. So we're going to say most likely just missing June. Okay, just something to kind of keep in track, keep an eye on. If we do end up like finding profitable properties in this area, we want to make sure that we can track the, when it comes time to find a profitable property, and if we want to use that piece of data, we know that we should be a little bit cautious of it just because it has nothing in June, and that should worry us a little bit. If we decide to continue to use it for whatever reason, that's fine. You can use it, but it's just good to keep a good eye on that. So this is good data. It's a large home. It's a pretty shitty home, or at least not the best listing. So it's kind of making me wonder, like, is this real data? So like, that's not a good listing at all. Why would this home be doing as well as some of these other ones that we just saw? It sleeps 16 plus people. It's showing as a studio for some reason with 14 beds. I don't know how that's working, but somehow it came through the data. July, June, May, April, March, February, January, December, November, October. Okay, so this is a piece of data that is real, but is kind of confusing. So not a good listing. Not sure how it's doing this well. So that just kind of makes me a little bit nervous about it. But we'll just keep going. We'll keep going down this process because look at this listing. This is apparently a 7 bedroom. Somehow that got tossed into this data. It says 6 here, but it's showing 7 there. So it is what it is. This is a 7 bedroom, and June, May, it's a good piece of data. So I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to change the number of bedrooms on the data count just so I'm aware of that. But like, this is great data. Look how many reviews this has. And this is a good looking listing too. So very clean, modern kitchen. That is solid, big. They have a pool table. We've seen a pool table now like 3 or 4 times across some of these really solid listings. It's the exact same style design as well, like very clean, very I can say contemporary again, but I don't know if that's accurate. Anyway, so do they have anything interesting about this listing at all? It's kind of boring, eh? Um, and then I just gave away the fact that I'm Canadian. All right, look at this place. It's very secluded, which is something that I always think helps. It's a massive place, kind of beautiful. So it's just a nice estate. Not going to write too much on this, but I do want to keep that as a good piece of data, and we're going to change that to 7, but we're not going to filter anything out. If I click this, it'll get rid of that piece of data, and I just don't want that to happen. Actually, I just don't want that to happen at all. So I'm going to keep it as a 6. We'll go technically a 7-bedroom, but we'll leave it in there for now. Keep on keeping on, people. This is the process. Got to go through it. So they've got a deck that is a basketball court. That is super interesting. They got June, July. Oh, we go right from November to March. Okay, so that's not a good piece of data. We're going to go an end on that one. Keep on going on. All right, this one looks good. June. They got some July responses. May, April, March, February, January. Just trying to, give you guys an idea of like what I'm looking for. It's why I keep saying all these months as I go through it. Iconic selfie is just a 5-minute walk. All right. Look at the design of this place. Every bedroom is its own uniqueness, but this is not, it's designed funky, but it's a small listing. So I'm always kind of looking at the bones of the property more so than anything else. What I see is a very standard kitchen in comparison to some of those nicer kitchens that we were seeing. And even like the living room itself, that's a really small, tight living room. They just did a good job in designing it. I don't think the design, in my opinion, it doesn't really appeal to me, but it does appeal to some people clearly, right? Because they're doing really well. But now I'm seeing another living room. I'm just going to keep an eye out for another kitchen, which I don't know if that's another kitchen, but as it looks to be the same shape. We got another living room, but it's inside of a bedroom. We got a lot of beds, a lot of bedrooms. This appears to be the same kitchen. Yeah, because you can see over there, it's the same sort of thing that we were looking at before. So it's not a parent listing. It's one listing. It's fine. Just so many photos. Holy. And that's what the home looks like from the outside. So that's actually what I was trying to find, because I could tell this was like, I'm like, this is a nice place. Like, how is it doing that well? So that I would want to find a home that kind of looks like that one. So we're going to go yes on that. And we're also going to mark that one green. So go, okay, sounds good. And at the end of all the way doing this, right? So we're probably only going to go to this one right here. So you know what? I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to be right back and I'm just going to get the rest. You know what? No, you're sticking around. We're sticking around. We're going through this. You're seeing what I'm seeing. You're seeing the entire process. If you're bored, grab some popcorn and chew on it so that you have something to do. But anyway, so this is another solid piece of data. I like what I see. Nice big home, 5 bedrooms, 16 plus guests. What I'm curious about is how many of these places sleep over 16 people. So I'm just going to go here, and that's the max guests, the number of guests that people can stay. And I'm going to go conditional formatting, and I'm going to say text contains the number 16 and how many show up. So, oh, look at that. They're all at the top. All of the homes at Sleep 16 are at the top. So therefore, if you want to be at the top and increase your odds, you probably want to have 16 people sleeping in your home. But let's get back to this piece of data because this is a solid home. It's another example of like plain, boring, clean listing, just covering its bases, a nice home that's really helping drive all the revenue. Now what I'm starting to realize here is that if you actually just probably go a little bit above and beyond the design that we're currently seeing from a lot of these homes, you could probably get a smaller home and make just as much money, because these are really boring listings. Like, these are super boring. They are, I'm going to look at the word contemporary. Let's see, contemporary design, and then we're going to go to interior design. Let's do that. And then design, and I'm going to go to images and see if I'm saying this right or not. Sorry for anyone who's going through this. I mean, kind of like that, very straightforward, plain. These are kind of like to the max listings, but to me, I feel like that's contemporary for the most part. These ones kind of give off that vibe. Anyways, that was a little side tangent. I apologize. Let's keep going through here. June, May, April. Imagine if you had to go through the 11,000 listings that are actually available in this area to narrow down. That's what I used to have to do. Write them out. So another piece of good data, another solid listing. That's what I love to see. Love, love, love. Let's keep going. I probably could honestly just start looking at some of the listings right now to try and see, hey, which ones kind of look like this that are doing over 120. And that's going to give me like a bit of a range. I can change my expenses. So as you can see, these all look pretty solid as well. And I forget if I even checked the reviews. My mistake. June, April. Yeah, these is solid. Let's go. Yes. And is that a green-worthy listing? Yes, it is. Because look at smaller home, solid listing, but roughly making the same as some of these other ones. It's got some nice nighttime photos. What are these guys doing different that's maybe allowing them to make a little bit more? I don't, not much, honestly. These are as pretty well the exact same style and design. The home is smaller. It's clearly as not nearly as luxurious of a home. We've got a little bit of a basement with a game room, and that's it. Man, what a miss on so many of these homes. I would put together a listing that would blow these out of the water. Not to be cocky, but I've just stared at too many listings to know how to maximize revenue. And what are the things that people do really well? And if you want some advice, just simply go and look at the best of the best listings. Go to the best cities, try and understand exactly what they're doing. That's allowing them to outperform. June, May, April. Sorry, the reason I'm going back into this again is because the home looks not very good. So I don't know why it would be making as much as everybody else, but it has all the reviews. So sometimes listings will get like a higher revenue amount, but then if you compare them like side by side with another home that's roughly making the same amount, the listing's just like either way worse or it's just way worse. Like this one I would consider to be like just worse. It's not absolutely like dog shit, but it's not great either. In my opinion, it does have a nice little backyard area, secluded. So like maybe those are reasons why it's doing well, but I'm not going to be recording that one as green because I don't care about it. I think I was supposed to record this last one here, 121. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I want to make sure I'm always tracking these green ones because they're going to be my best use for when I'm actually trying to determine the value of a property. May, April, March. And remember, we're looking at all of like every zip code right now, which is something new that I've started to do and haven't really taught anybody how to do just yet. But the data is good here. This home is very boring. That's back-to-back boring homes and a bad listing. How is this one doing this well? Like, where is it? What is it that's allowing it to do? Maybe it's the location that's causing that to happen. I don't know, but I'm not keeping track of that one either. We've got about, I don't know, was that like 7 more to go? I'm going to start closing up all these because I just want more space. And then I'm going to open up all the green ones back when I'm starting to look at the different listings to try and find if there's profitable property there or not. And we got July, June, May, April. By the way, I have no idea if there are any profitable properties in the entire process I'm going through right now. This is a complete guess and a gut based off of what the revenue is and what I think is possible. What is interesting though is how 3 listings in a row now have just been really bad listings. And they're all almost making the exact same amount of money, but they have not been very good in comparison to the other ones that we've been seeing. Now, obviously, they're making less money, but I know that green one that we're coming up to as I continue to go down, just so anyone who's wondering, this one is a solid listing. So, like, how are these ones significantly outperforming those ones? And the data here is so solid. Like, all of these listings are pretty well real data, good data, which I love to see, but, you have to double check just to ensure this is a solid home. It's also not designed well. The photos kind of suck. It's designed decent. I would say it's designed well. I think it could be designed better, but they put a lot of effort into this. The photos are no good. The kitchen is subpar. The dining table is a high table. They got 2 living rooms. They have 2 dining rooms, apparently. So the other one would have been a kitchenette. So it's fine to have a high table. That's a big old house, but that's also not a very expensive house. So super interesting to see these people. That one to me is interesting. I almost just want to I'm gonna put that light green because I feel like that home does not cost a lot to rent. And it's a 6 bedroom. So interesting. This one only has 24 reviews, January 2023. That's how you know that that's not good data right off the bat. When you just see, I don't know why I even do 20 reviews. I feel like it should be like 40 as a minimum at this point. May straight to December, so that's not useful either. So we're going to say no on that too. And then let's get to the next one. What do we got here? This is a not an older home. December. Okay. Before I even got into it, I already got proven wrong. And then I want to see this one again. So here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is a really well done listing, really well done, super small home. This is exactly what I'd be looking for because this is how you put together a listing. So the reason this home's not making that much money is because it's tiny. It's tiny in comparison to all the other ones. But they did such a good job with the design of everything on this home. And obviously this back part here is helping it a lot, which doesn't help because we're not going to have this in the back of every place. So that kind of makes it like, shoot, how do you compete, right? So that's kind of upsetting. But I think I've seen enough data to be able to be like, all right, let's go hunting for some properties here. As you can see, once again, smaller home. Great piece of data though. I'm just gonna check. So I see the one right below it because we've ran into what, like 4 bad listings in a row. I'm just gonna ignore that one completely. That's an evolved data. We don't use evolved data. It's always off. It's always wrong. Don't use it. Don't use Vicasas either. July, June, May. I just don't want to have that last one being like the only one because the backyard thing that's in there makes it like, well, I'm not going to be able to find a place for rent that has it. So like, it's going to be hard to compare it. So here's another good one though, where we've got us like, this is the whole living room, dining, and kitchen all right there, right? So very much smaller than the other ones that we were looking at. And as I continue to go, we've got a nice backyard set up, like solid listing. That's what the home looks like. That's beautiful to me. And it's making 102. Great. So what we're going to do is grab that. And we're going to go, yep, sounds good. And now what I'm going to do is just simply get rid of everything that is not a yes or a most likely. So now I'm just looking at this data. I'm then going to take this and copy it, bring it to its own sheet because I'm going to want to put these on the map and I want to see, again, like where are these ones specifically. But before I do that, I'm actually going to remove all these guys. So everybody in between that isn't a great listing. Sorry, I meant to do it this way. Delete. I just want to see just these good listings because this is exactly what I'd be doing. They're all maximizing the revenue. It's apples to apples comparison. I'm going to get rid of that green one. It didn't meet the requirements of everything that I like. And then I'm just going to throw that filter on there. You can see we have, once again, still vast majority of these people sleep 16 plus guests. I'm going to clean this up by getting rid of all of this over here. And then I'm going to also get rid of these ones because that's taking up room. And we're going to close that up. And then we're going to go to here. We're going to grab this again. We're going to go turn that off and turn that off. So now we're not looking at any of the listings here. And we're going to add another layer. And we're going to go import. Once again, it's already going to be there. That grabs a lat and a long. This is going to be the title. And we want to see where these all get plotted. Look how it all gets tightened up. Oh, I love it. All right, so we're good there. And we're going to change these to that. And see how we're not over here anymore. And we're not over there anymore. So now we're just a lot tighter. Not much tighter, but we are tighter. Tighter to downtown, right? Because I was all the way over here and kind of all the way over here as well, but now I'm not. So let's remake our map. So let's remove these boundaries and start drawing. We would be, let's triple check this. We're going to get all the way over to that place. What is that? Lionel? I apologize if I said that wrong. I felt pretty stupid as I said it. So we're going to go like that. Then we're going to come up this one that's straight up. And we're going to follow this windy road straight up. And then we're going to go all the way to make sure that we are passing over top of this and over top of that. Pace is like a good, that marker up there. And then we'll come straight back down. Okay, so we're cutting right through right through this. So I can actually use this as a marker to go straight down. That's the Oops, sorry, gotta be here. So use this as marker. So we want to start right here. Come over, go up this, follow the windy road. Oh shoot, didn't mean to do that. Let me restart this. Let's do this so that because I know I need to get up there. Okay, so we're gonna we're using the draw feature. We're gonna come around here, and then we're gonna go up, 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 all the way up and over. Stay above the 75, and then cut it. Beautiful, nice and skinny. Okay, let's apply with that. Look how much we've just shut off there. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is using the homes that we have here. Let's go price. Let's go high to low. Just so we have them in a nice order here. Look at this home. That's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, modern home, 3,300 square feet, new kitchen. Really well done. Look at that design on the inside. Bathrooms are done well. Look at the neighborhood that it's in. Wow. 6,900. Basement, backyard is huge. Or that might be the front yard. Huge basement, nice deck, multi-car garage. I mean, let's open up our listings, take a look, and see where we think that one, just to start off, would fall within our range of our different listings to get a feel for this. So we obviously have a huge range here that we're working with, which is going to make us change up our max rent calculator. And then we will go from there. So let's start off with just figuring out what we think this one would make, and then we'll add it into the calculator. So this is a nice, well done listing. Very good looking, 5-bedroom, game room. It's a solid listing. I like the outdoor space on it as well. It's a good sunroom, solid kitchen. Seems like just like a modern home, I would say. I would think that the home that I just looked at could probably compete fairly well with that. The backyard might be a little bit difficult to compete with, just because of everything that they got going on there. I can't really. It's hard to tell if this doesn't feel like backyard because the driveway. But then the front, like, what's this? Is this the front of the home? So it almost seems like the driveway kind of goes into the backyard. So let me actually take this and go over to maps, and I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to go down, and let's go view. I got this trick from Mr. Jones, and okay, that was not helpful at all. It's completely covered by trees. But what I could see is that it's the last property here on the corner. So it's likely that we saw the front end view, and then you have another entrance, and then you have the rest of this land. All of that tree coverage, though, is pretty awesome, I would say. So, that's definitely going to be advantageous to renters to have a lot of, it seems like a lot of privacy. It's just hard to gauge from this view. I wonder if we can do street view. Drag me down and let me see what I'm looking at. So, okay. So no, there's no yard at all. Let me go back out and go on the other side of the street and see if I can see it from the behind. Yeah, so you have no backyard. It might be an issue. So that'll make it a little bit harder to compete with this home just because they've got that backyard. So let's kind of keep going then. Also, the exact same style as the last one. It might make sense just to find a home that matches this style. The kitchen here is clearly new, nice, looks really great. As we can continue, it's got that pool table room. We have that as well, and they have no backyard. So this one we could compete with, right? This next one we've seen already. We kind of went a little further in depth. It does have a nice little backyard set up with a fire pit and whatnot. Now I gotta triple check. Can we really do nothing here? You probably could put a hot tub down here. You could have a nice little propane fire pit set up there. The home is just so large, you could do a lot with. So I wouldn't say that we can't beat this home because our interior would kick the butt off that one. And then here's another one that's, again, this exact same style. Really nice kitchen. I want to see the kitchen again one more time on this one, just to make sure we're competing. Kitchens don't make a huge difference, but yeah, we're competing. Look at that. It's not awesome, but it's not bad either. This one here, I know we'd be able to compete with, and this one as well. Now, the issue is that this beautiful new Buckhead is this one right here doing 126, and the other one that I think we can beat is doing 168. So, at what point are we for sure beating? Which one are we for sure beating is really the question, right? And I think when you look at this one, it's very plain in comparison to the second best one. It's got, it's plain. It's got a backyard, but there's nothing going on in the backyard, so it's not like there's anything that they can beat us on. But this one's also fairly plain. It's got a pool table. It's got a nice sunroom, as we were saying. I think we can, I think that we could compete with this 168, but just to be a little conservative, let's put us closer to like I'd say 140. I'm curious what 140 looks like on our max rank calculator. So let's go 140, 123, and that's going to give us $6,826 to spend if we want to make $30,000 a year in profit. And the amount that we have here to pay is $6,900. That's hilarious. So in other words, if this home made $140,000 a year, which it feels like it could definitely beat these guys and maybe be up there, even maybe has the potential to do 170. I don't want to say that for sure, but because you always want to be conservative with this. But if this home did 140 at a minimum, you're looking at just under $30,000 in profit if these expenses are accurate, right? So that's one property that has 30K potential. Let's keep going and see what else we got. So this one's just interesting because it doesn't seem like a luxury home, but it definitely gives off the exact same feel of all of the other homes that we've been looking at. It's also massive. I'm just curious, and look at the kitchen, solid as well. Like, you design this home well. You design it well, like better than the other ones that we've been looking at, and there's no reason why it can't beat the other ones. And it's got a great backyard, even though we can't see the backyard. It doesn't. The photos suck, but that's a huge backyard. So I'd put this one as well around that like 150 range, which you would definitely be able to make that work at 150. Your heating bill will definitely be more, so you might not make 30,000 on it, but you'd probably do fairly well with that. Let's take a look at this home here. This one's a lot older. I probably would not go for this one. I mean, it's still 6,500 in rent. It's just a really large home, whereas you're getting this one for $400 more. It's a little bit smaller, but significantly nicer. Let's see. So this one I'm interested in because I remember seeing it's a townhome though, so that's going to make it hard to rent. But let's hypothetically say we could. It's got that same feel to it. I'm pretty sure one of these was a. Oh shoot! I just deleted one. Designer 5-bedroom. What's the one before that? Luxury. Okay. One of these was. Oh yeah, it was this one here. I mean, that's not a townhouse. So let's ignore the townhouse because it's going to be a lot harder to get. This one here is going for 5,000, 4,000 square feet. It's going to be an older build. And like, look at that. Like, that's not what we want to be getting to try and compete. This is probably like a college home. It doesn't have that modernness that you need as all the other homes had, right? Which is obviously a driving factor for these homes to do well. Even this here, like, that kitchen worries me because I think all of these kitchens are white for one, right? So that's going to make a bit of a difference just right off the bat. But, it's also kind of in like a suburb. It's kind of a cookie cutter home. You could obviously put it together well. I just don't see it competing well with all these other ones. So I'm not a huge fan of that one either. This one at 4,900. Why does it seem like it's like a duplex? I think it's a duplex, and look at how old everything is. We're just not going to hit our numbers if we go for that home. It's as simple as that, right? 3,500, significantly smaller than the other ones. So I don't even know. The kitchen is subpar as well, is what it is. This one here, well, this is interesting because it's got the style. Now, mind you, okay, it's furnished, but I'm more so looking at the fact that the kitchen, the floor, everything kind of has that feel. It's definitely smaller than the other ones we were looking at, and I'm wondering if this is a townhome as well. Single family residence. All right, maybe not. So backyard with a garage. This is kind of interesting for 3,500. Is that this? That's not the same kitchen. That's the same kitchen. Yeah, I guess. All right. So what I would be curious with this one is if it had a second living room, because then to get like a pool table in there. I know you got this backyard, so you could actually do more in this backyard that anybody else is doing. And I think wonder if this is part of the 5 bedrooms. And you've got 2-car garage, so I don't know what the weather's like in Atlanta, honestly. I told you I don't know anything about Atlanta. Um, and the reason I'm writing this is because I'm wondering. Let's go monthly. Does it get really cold? Because if it doesn't get really all that cold, let's go all months. And can we do Fahrenheit, please? Okay, cool. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't really get freezing. It's not really like too cold. Maybe to some people this is really cold. Let's see what that is in Celsius. Yeah, I guess it is. It could be pretty cold. But for the most part, what I'm trying to say is that this home might be a opportunity home. Now, here's the issue. It's not showing us the actual address. So it's probably outside of our zone, but we can see that it's in this zip code. So let's see where this zip code actually shows up over here. 30312. Tell me where that shows up. Tell me it's in our little pocket. It's in our pocket. Beautiful. All right. So I like this because the kitchen and the style of the home matches with the rest of the homes. It's smaller. That's a given, right? But we know that this home was also a lot smaller. And this one's doing about 100,000, I believe. If we can triple check that. Yeah, it's 102, right? Let's make sure. No, it's a little more. Even that one's small though too. That's 102. This one's 109. And this is really well done. And with this home, so this is kind of what I look for with homes. I look for something that what I refer to as like an inefficiency within the market, meaning that it's very cheap, but it has a lot of opportunity to make quite a bit more than these other homes. And so when I see this, I see a modern kitchen that matches up with all the other homes. I see flooring that gives us a good, like high quality feeling, along with all of the chrome finishes and everything. All of it kind of wraps up to like, hey, this is a good potential property. And then, but that's not the only reason I would go for it. Yes, it's a 5 bedroom, 3.5 baths, but it doesn't have a second living room. But what it does have is it has this. So it has a deck that we could add a really nice setup here. Have good seating, good hanging lights, whatever. We could add a fire pit over here. We could add a hot tub, likely out here as well, or inside because we have the concrete already. But I'd be making this entire 2-car garage into a full out game room. And so then that entire game room would be like where everybody would want to be to hang out. And it seems like there's space up there for something as well. What I'm trying to get at is that I would convert this entire backyard into like the best place to be and make people want to rent it. And then on top of that, it still matches up with everything else that everybody is looking for in all these other locations, which is that contemporary feel, even though I don't know if that's the right word. And it's only 3,500 rent. So if you do the math on that, right? I don't have a reverse way, but let's say that the home made, let's just be conservative. Say it makes 100,000. Well, you can walk away with $30,000 of profit because the rent's only because this is 3,500, right? But once it starts hitting like 110, that's where you start making. You could change this to 40, right? And you're going to walk away with about $40,000 in profit. And that home, this one here, is doing 110, and it's really well designed, right? So I think that would be my pick, honestly, because it's lower rent, so it's a little bit cheaper. The backyard gives an advantage just because some of the other one that I really liked, that modern looking one, didn't have that, right? So this one right here didn't have it, but the rent was significantly higher. It did give you the potential of like a potentially making 170. So if we look at that, let's go 170, 123. The max rent you could spend was that amount, which means you could probably increase this to like 60. Yeah, so 60,000. You could walk away potentially with 60,000. So there's a potential of a higher return with this other home, with this one, but it's also a higher risk. I like to go a little bit smaller and not, go crazy. But on top of that, like you have some of these other homes too that I didn't even go through that might have potential. But I think I'm just gonna stop here because we're coming up right on that hour mark, and I do have to get going. But as a result, for anybody who has watched this and stuck all the way through, this is a small fraction of an example of what's possible with a profit map, with a process, and with my new software that's coming out that is not officially launched yet. So if you're watching this and you watched it all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a special offer. Okay. So this is only going to be good for the next month. So right now it's July 12th. If you reach out to me before August 18th, we're going to go to 18th because my birthday is August 17th. So if you reach out to me before August 18th and you watch this all the way through, I know you're somebody who's committed, you're interested, and you love seeing what I just went through. Maybe you're even interested in Atlanta. Most likely are. If you reach out to me, I'm going to give you this at a significant discounted rate in comparison to what it's going to be when it's officially launched. I don't have the exact price just yet, but I will give you a discounted rate if you reach out in that time and you put in the title, the description, pink elephant. So if you email me, okay, or if you DM me or whatever it is that you want to do, just say pink elephant. I know that means that you actually watched it all the way through. But if you go to my YouTube channel and go to the about, you can click view email and you can see my email right there. And so what I'd recommend is that you watch this, you email me, you say pink elephant, you say, hey, John, interested in your new software called Profit Maps or whatever it's called at the time that I launch it. And you reach out to me before August 18th, 2023. I will give you a discount on this and you can actually get as many unlimited amount of profit maps for any location that you want across the entire United States and be able to go through this entire process that I just showed you. The training that everything that I just pretty well talked about is kind of in my playlist section. So this masterclass 2.0 will teach you most of what I just went through for free online. Just go to it right now. However, I'm coming out with a whole other course. It's going to be way better than this. It's going to be a lot about what we just went through as well. So anyways, I just found properties in Atlanta that would make me somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. It took me less than an hour. As long as I had the capital and the location, I feel fully confident to be able to go out there and actually get those properties. And I'm not from Atlanta. I know nothing about Atlanta. I just followed my process that I know. And I'd be able to actually get a couple of properties that I could technically get two of those, which means I can make somewhere between like $80,000 to $120,000 a year off those two properties, which would be enough for most people to be able to walk away from their job. So hope that helps someone. If you love this video, please subscribe, share it with somebody else, and like it and comment about what you liked about it. So love you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and talk soon.